And we actually are going to start off today's show with a question from one of our listeners. It's our guy at Rhino Rooster 99 on Twitter. And he was starting off today with a dynasty trade question. He says Jalen Reagor or Darius Slayton in dynasty. So Jalen Reagor was drafted in the first round, I believe the 21st overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. Darius Slayton being the rookie last year for the Giants that had a few boom games. Alex, I'm curious to hear your take on this one. Who are you taking?
Yeah, this is a tough one because I actually like the upside of both guys a decent amount. But for me, it's Darius Slayton. And really the reason being is in a dynasty league, well, first of all, I have Darius Slayton actually statted out for a better season this year, which I'm always looking to win this year in dynasty. Rebuilding is what it is, but I love competing for championships. So for me, I love the upside of Darius Slayton this season with the New York Giants. And I always will want a guy that's proven it in the NFL, right? So Jalen Reagor is a phenomenal talent on the Eagles. He should have really good opportunity. We look at the receiver group they have there. Deshaun Jackson's getting older. Alshon Jeffrey might actually miss games to start this season. Zach Ertz is getting older. So the Eagles expect Jalen Reagor to be the guy for years to come. But who knows? Maybe he comes in and he just can't get it done for Philly. I think he can. I like the talent. But there's just a lot of question marks there with the Eagles. This year they have a very crowded wide receiver room. And with Darius Slayton, he's proven that he can do it. He had a phenomenal season last year with the Giants. He's got the young quarterback in Daniel Jones who will be growing with him throughout his career. That New York Giants team is young. The offense should be dynamic this season. And there's just a lot to be excited about with Darius Slayton. Steph, what do you think?
I'm taking the other side of the coin here. I love Slayton, and especially love him in redraft this year. But in a dynasty setting, I feel like Slayton's getting a little bit overvalued. He only had 4 weeks last year, over 15 points, and he didn't even have a week where he was in the 20s in terms of PPR points scored. He had 2 weeks where he was over 30 points, and that was a game against the Jets and against the Eagles. And everyone suddenly wants to crown Slayton as the king of New York now. And, I mean, you said the Eagles have a crowded receiving core, but so do the Giants. Shepard, Tate, Ingram, Saquon's going to get his. And even just looking at the draft capital, Slayton was taken in the 5th round. He's a little bit older, too. He's 23 and a half years old. Reagor, obviously, yes, there's more question marks as a rookie first year in the NFL. But to me, he has a clear path to usage, and he's only 21 and a half years old. We see Greg Ward and Mac Hollins, guys like that coming in and getting it done for Philly last year. If they can get it done, I have no question in my mind that Reagor absolutely can. We got Alshon Jeffrey starting the year on the pup out of his prime. Deshaun Jackson dealt with injury last season. He's kind of having some weird off-the-field stuff going on right now too, and he's past his prime. This team, to me, is just begging. It's ripe for an alpha wide receiver one to come in there, and I think Reagor fits that skill set for Wentz being able to go out and air the ball out. Like, this kid's a go-up-and-get-it Thrasher type of guy. I think Thrasher is the way that I would describe Jalen Reagor because this kid's just a human highlight reel. Go watch his college highlights. They are insane. And this is a guy I'll be preaching about a lot on this channel until he proves me otherwise. I love Jalen Reagor in 2020 and beyond. Both of these offenses are going to have the volume. Both are over 600 pass attempts last year. This is kind of just like a pick your poison. To me, Reagor is the clear takeaway over Slayton. I think Slayton's just the hype train's booming too fast.
No, for sure. And I like Jalen Reagor too. There was a lot of hate for him when he went in the first round this year. A lot of guys were really questioning that pick. Why did he go in front of Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
Some of the other wide receivers. I was actually vouching for Jalen Reagor. I think he's an extreme talent, and he's honestly more of a potential alpha wide receiver one in the NFL that can kind of do it all. But I look at what Darius Slayton did last season, 48 receptions, 740 yards, 8 touchdowns, 15.4 yards per catch. I think about Daniel Jones and how he loves to sling the ball down the field. I think that's going to be a really good connection for years to come. I'll say Slayton's probably the safer option just because we have seen it. But as far as upside goes, I think Jalen Reagor's upside could be to be a top 10 receiver in the NFL, where I just don't know at this point if Darius Slayton can get there. So from that regard, Steph, I will give it to you. But I think as far as likelihood goes, Darius Slayton will be a fantasy asset for the next several years, where with Jalen Reagor, we hope so. But it still remains to be seen until we see him this season.
That's fair. That's fair. I just see Reagor taking over as the one here, and I think he was drafted to be that.
I hope so. I really
see
like the player. I really hope so.
the blueprint that I feel like Doug Peterson's kind of putting together is like trying to mimic the Kansas City Chiefs. Like they're going out, getting all these deep threats. They got Deshaun Jackson last year. They like using a receiving running back out of the backfield, Miles Sanders. So I see a lot to like for the Reagor situation. Maybe we're kind of splitting hairs here as these guys are both kind of these upside deep threat names, but I see Reagor as the more of the long-term consistent option, but I think we're going to agree to disagree on this one here.